Started. Well, hello. My name is Jeff Grasser, and thank you so much for attending this breakout session that's entitled Collaboration for Accelerated Climate Solutions, so that we're going to talk about a couple different collaborations that are happening today that have some potential to move that climate needle a little bit. So I would like to introduce from the end, Rick DeFino from Vanguard Solar, and John Siewierski from Agrivoltaics, Inc., Megan Wagaman from Copper Mountain Resort, and Ryan Groat from Vail Resorts. So we'll carry on here. So today we're going to talk about how collaborations are coming together in the real world to make a difference. And it's kind of a broad scope, everything from land conservation, waste reduction, and even renewable energy development. So we're going to have to kind of move through a bunch of material really fast here. But I'll start off with a little bit of an introduction for myself. Like I said, my name is Jeff Grasser, and I have the opportunity to work at my dream job and get to lead the sustainability efforts of a really cool place, Copper Mountain Resort. I've been at Copper now for 20 years and been in my current role as Copper's environmental leader for the past 11 years. Time really flies. So in this role, I get a chance to do a lot of different things, a lot of fun things, from community support to being an ecologist, and it definitely keeps me busy. So we're here to talk about collaborations, and we're going to start with just a little bit of, like I said, an overview of the different areas. And this kind of all falls within Copper's sustainability initiative and campaign called Play Forever. And Copper does share Play Forever with Powder Resorts, and Powder Core is really the driving force behind Play Forever. And that has given us a chance to make a meaningful difference in different regards, these different pillars of community support, renewable energy development and energy efficiency, waste reduction, and also land conservation. So we try to take a really holistic approach to looking at everything. And for that, we couldn't do that without many other partners, many other collaborators that not only support us and we get the chance to support them, but to uncover things that we couldn't do on our own, whether it be sharing resources or ideas or human capacity. So we're going to start off with some success stories about where collaboration has won and developed some new opportunities here. So one of those that I've actually spoke at this conference in the past couple of years is providing detail and introducing Copper's carbon sequestration study. Copper has commissioned a 10-year study to examine how we can have a meaningful impact on land conservation, not just in a way of doing conservation better than it's been done in the past in support of biodiversity and reducing erosion, but also in a way that has a co-benefit, because we see the opportunity to advance conservation practice, whether it be restoration or other conservation actions, in a way that has an amazing co-benefit of not just supporting our land and our ecosystems and biodiversity, but also supporting the ability to put away past emissions, to actually sequester carbon out of the air. So this carbon sequestration study has been part of a collaboration with others that we couldn't have done on our own. In this picture, you see some students and this professor here, Dr. Jenny DeMarco from Southwestern University, who we've been collaborating with to bring on this academic rigor and methods to help us test our advanced restoration practice and our advanced conservation actions. Because we want to, I don't want you to take my word for it. I want a whole bunch, big, fat, scientific published journal article for you to read someday. But like I said, this is a 10-year study, so we're not really in the comparative data analysis segment yet. But it's something we never could have done on our own. At Copper, we believe that we can make these differences and that we can overcome these challenges. But we see that we're in this together. And so this is one example of a successful collaboration that kind of ladders up to others. We're really excited and proud to always share our conservation methods as well as the data from our carbon sequestration study. And we do that through a format. I'm jumping ahead. So, okay, what is the theory of change here? So really it's about how we can use biodiversity to not only help our ecosystem through its current challenges to make sure that our ecosystem is ready for a hotter, drier future, but also use that to build vegetation mass on our mountainside slopes. Do this in a way that's completely compatible with skiing. And so the idea is that we take this and test our methods and have academic results that are, that we partner with others to help us verify that. And so that's really based around our native seed collecting program. That's one of the first and foremost things that we've been able to use. Copper's really proud of our efforts to go out and collect. This year we collected 55 different native seeds or species of plants and the seeds that we've used in restoration. And that's kind of forms the heart of the carbon sequestration study. In this study, we're also testing some additional soil augmentations. How can we make sure that these seeds germinate and grow and make a meaningful difference to our ski slopes, which ultimately not only has impact to the whole planet, but very strong impact locally. And making sure that future generations get a chance to ski on the same ski slopes that I got a chance to grow up on. We're testing some other soil augmentation processes and other methods like adding municipal compost onto our ski slopes in conjunction with these seeds, as well as even testing some other soil augmentations such as biochar, testing that can we even boost our carbon sequestration's potential by deploying methods that can support soil but also be an outright carbon offset in their own. So like I said, we're real proud of these methods, but we're really mostly proud of our ability and willingness to share them. That we don't want to just do this for a great PR story. Making copper a little island of conservation sure is a nice little story, but it doesn't get the job done at a larger scale. And that's why we feel compelled to share our methods every year, share our data. And we do that through a particular vehicle. This past summer, we had our 4th annual Ski Conservation Summit at Copper. And that's an event that has been a huge success in bringing together other like-minded people, other land managers, other ski resorts, nonprofit organizations, regulatory agencies like the local Forest Service agents, to have everybody in the same room to talk about where's somebody winning, where are some of the struggles that we commonly face. This past Ski Conservation Summit that was held back in July had 65 attendants. We had 10 different ski resorts attend. And that was, not just a moment for me to showcase what Copper's doing, for me to hear innovative ideas that I have put to work. Mike Nathan's in this audience. Some of the things that A-Basin's done has influenced what we do. And for that, I'm grateful. It's been a really unique opportunity to bring people together in this day-long free conference that also includes a nice hike in the middle of it. So it's also been a great expansion of engaging with academic professionals. This is Dr. Jenny DeMarco in this picture. And it's been a way to reunite or connect people from an academic setting, researchers that, let's say, have the methods and the will, but they don't necessarily have the human power. They are looking for companies, organizations like ours and you in this room that can be their boots on the ground for citizen science-based studies. And that's one of the things that we were really excited to launch into this year, a realm of academic engagement and support research. Together, I'm keeping an eye on this thing behind me. The wind kind of takes it. Rick, do you mind holding on to that? Okay, so testing methods, there's all sorts of engaged opportunities out there with people that want to do things. We can be those boots on the ground. So we can test a lot of the theories and answer a lot of questions that we need answered from a business perspective and how we can continue to, support recreation especially on public lands forever. So many of these things, whether we're talking about a wetlands restoration project that A-Basin's done or Eldora's done, or other efforts to increase restoration's efficacy, they really represent nature-based climate solutions in action. And that is becoming a really powerful, viable mechanism, not just for us to offset our carbon emissions of today, but have the ability, as these nature-based climate solutions function year over year over year, to actually go back and capture past emissions. So we're going to shift gears now into the realm of waste reduction. I'm going to ask Megan Wagaman from Copper Mountain to please come up, tell you a little more about CirQ recycling system.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you for our fixers of our walls over there. Appreciate that. So I've had the pleasure of getting to work. Oh, here we go again. Pleasure of working with Jeff for the last 5 years, and yeah, we'll just hold it. All right, I trust that I'm safe. I see people holding it. So I'm here today to share with you an exciting initiative that is leading the way in collaboration and waste diversion results, and that is CirQ. So this program, centered at Copper Mountain, demonstrates how collaboration between corporations, resorts, and visitors can drive real solutions to climate change. Through CirQ, we are addressing one of our biggest contributors to our warming climate through our recycling and waste inefficiencies. CirQ was born from a need for a closed-loop recycling system, one built on circularity and trust. It's a source-separated recycling system where materials like aluminum in the form of cans, cups, and bottles, and plastic #1 bottles are endlessly reused without downcycling, meaning they're returning to their original form without losing quality. By recycling materials back into their original state, CirQ reduces the demand for new resource extraction, it cuts transportation costs, diverts waste from landfills, and decreases the carbon emissions typically associated with recycling. In other words, this is a win-win solution for business and the environment. CirQ program wouldn't exist without the powerful collaboration of key players. PepsiCo was instrumental in launching this initiative, bringing circularity to the table. Replenish, a partner focused on transparency and accountability within the recycling process, ensures that this system truly works. And together with Copper Mountain, which provides the diverse landscape and opportunities to test this innovative system on a large scale. And lastly, the guests who interact with this system and are encouraged to participate in a system that delivers transparency. This collaboration began in the 2022-2023 ski season, and from the start, we saw the potential for something bigger than just recycling. It became a model to reimagine waste at our resort, and to start looking closer at how guests interact with the products and the waste at the mountain. So transitioning to a source-separated system at Copper Mountain required more than just new bins and labels. It involved reimagining how waste moves through the resort. One key innovation was PepsiCo's role in backhauling the recycled materials. When Pepsi drivers deliver products to Copper Mountain, they do not leave with an empty truck. Instead, they are backhauling the sorted recycled materials through the use of super sacks, shown here, and bringing them to their facility in Denver, where it is then recycled back into the system. Replenish provides the software which tracks this circularity, and on the back end for our team to coordinate the material pickup, as well as the guest-facing side with QR codes for guests to interact and scan and see the impact in real time, which I will show you all here soon. As we introduced the new streams, we had to reimagine bins both indoors and out. We also got creative with some new labels and collection points, which you can see up here on the screen. And what made the shift so remarkable was not just the equipment or the process, but the way it quickly clicked with our visitors and guests, as well as employees. As people travel around the world to ski destinations, from around the world to ski destinations, and commingled recycling can look different from county to county and town to town, the switch to these source-separated streams really allowed less confusion in the commingled system and built some more trust in the recycling process. As Copper Mountain seeks to increase the value of the recycled commodities that we collect, and ball aluminum cups have been successful in helping to monetize recycling, we started introducing the new system, and we saw the need to phase out front-of-house traditional commingled, and this change was embraced. Both front-of-house and back-of-house operations saw improvements in waste management and overall guest experience, and lift lines and food courts became more cohesive. So today, CirQ has expanded across Copper Mountain, from the bars to the lift lines to the top of lifts, even to our event spaces, where we bring in enhanced recycling efforts with the CirQ system to our concert series. And through the program, we're seeing less contamination, reduced waste going to the landfill, and a decrease in transportation-related carbon emissions. So now I would like to pass this over to Ryan from Vail Resorts to speak a little bit more about this collaboration.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan Groat, Senior Manager of Sustainability for Vail Resorts. At Vail Resorts, we've also partnered with PepsiCo on the Circular Recycling Program and kind of collaboratively help to reduce our impact on the environment and support our zero waste to landfill goals. So I can add some color and insight about our partnership with PepsiCo and the Circu program at Breckenridge, and how collaborating with Copper through the Mountain Collaborative for Climate Action helped bring the program to life. Also hit on how partnership and collaboration are helping us achieve our commitment to zero goals. So the Circu program is a great example of how a collaborative effort between partners can create innovative ideas to accelerate climate solutions. And as Megan mentioned, the success of the Circu program has been dependent on our partnerships with Pepsi and the collaboration through the Mountain Collaborative for Climate Action. So these partnerships have allowed us to leverage the different perspectives, strengths, and resources of our different organizations to help find a solution to a shared problem that can be replicated and then scaled to maximize its impact. So in the initial phases of the Circu program, we all came together, brainstormed different ways to implement Circu into our operations, worked together to share ideas on collection methods and signage, discussed potential solutions to expected challenges down the road. And that's really when it started to shift from an idea into a reality. The Circu program at Breckenridge started off as a pilot, and to get the program off the ground, we needed to integrate it into our existing waste sorting system. Breckenridge had a robust sorting system where we've got custom-built sorting stations in food and beverage locations. Those are staffed by trained employees who take guest waste, separate the material into different waste streams. So to integrate the Circu program, initially, we worked with our food and beverage teams, added plastic bottles as a separate waste stream, retrained our employees, and updated our guests and employee-facing signage to incorporate the QR codes that link to the Replenish app. After implementing through food and beverage, we needed to work with base ops teams to make sure the necessary changes in the waste stream were put in place to collect the material in the mega bags and then stored and sent down to the warehouse. So as Megan mentioned, one of the most innovative highlights, sorry, the wind's getting me. One of the most innovative highlights of the Circu program has really been working with Pepsi to utilize the existing distribution network and loading the material directly back into the Pepsi trucks. So I think this is a great example of how collaboration can create innovation. That's something that we couldn't manage on our own, so we really needed to lean in and work with Pepsi to make that happen. So not only has it been effective in reducing transportation emissions and hauling costs, it's also created efficiencies for our operations team and has essentially cut out some of the steps needed to transfer material throughout the base area. And then the additional material separation and the consistent pickup schedule through utilizing the supply chain helped create space and some organization in the warehouse. So what we've found is when employees can see the positive effects of change and innovation within their operations, it helps drive engagement. It can lead to additional ideas from those teams that then they can grow from there as well. The Circu program at Breckenridge has been successful, and with continued collaboration with Pepsi, we've continued to update and adjust the program to match the needs of resort and our community. And we're also exploring additional opportunities to expand the program to other resorts where traditional recycling has been challenging, or in some cases not available at all. So our partnership with Pepsi extends beyond Circu, and we'll continue to work to create innovative solutions to increase recycling and circularity, and with their help, continue down the road to expand our durables program. So implementing new programs in dynamic environments like ski resorts and mountain communities is challenging. The systems aren't always perfect, but prioritizing action before perfection and taking that first step towards finding solutions is critical, and it's given us all valuable insights that we can apply to help solve future challenges. The Mountain Collaborative for Climate Action, Pepsi, and the Circu program have helped provide a framework for how we can all work together to successfully increase the impact of an idea and create innovative and scalable climate solutions across the industry. So we're looking forward to future collaborations, and it's exciting to see what we can accomplish together. I'll pass it back to Megan.
Thank you, Ryan, for sharing how that works at Vail Resorts. So here's some numbers. So we're going to chat a little bit about how the recycling program at Copper has had this success, and here you can see some of that related success through the Replenish app here. So to date, CirQ has collected around 18,000 pounds of material, 11,000 pounds of aluminum, and about 7,000 pounds of plastic bottles. This is equating to more than 470,000 items recycled. And thanks to Replenish, we can amount this to about 4,000 cubic feet of landfill space, a prevented 52 million grams of carbon emissions, conserving so far 5,000 gallons of oil, and 668,000 kilowatt hours of electricity. So not just numbers, but real impactful changes to our fight against climate change. I think one of the most powerful aspects that this provides is the transparency. And so visitors and staff can access this real-time data through the QR codes. And all of our CirQ bins across the resort have this signage on it that's engaging with the visitors. And so go ahead and scan this one up on the screen, and you can follow along with this impact in real time and kind of check out the Replenish app. And so this direct feedback builds a stronger connection between the participants and the impact they are making. CirQ is about changing attitudes and behaviors around waste. And I often get the statement or the question of, really, is that being recycled? And I think that distrust is really ingrained in the system and the process. So as people can see the success, their confidence heightens in their recycling efforts, which does lead to impact. And not just at the mountain, but the trickle effect of when they go home to their own communities, or maybe they're still in that community, and their attitudes are just shifting around waste. So the future of CirQ is just as exciting as its beginnings. As we are looking ahead, we are focusing on monetizing the recycling process and supporting the recycling infrastructure that our community relies upon. Through Replenish, we will be able to sell the recycled materials collected in the program, and truly we have just outgrown the super sacks. So we will be moving to collecting materials in roll-off dumpsters, and this is kind of shown here on the screen. So one of these dumpsters will be used for aluminum, the other for plastic bottles. And in this, we will also have a recycling sorting platform. So this process will look the same, and the materials will flow back to PepsiCo, allowing them to be reused into new products once again. So not only is it about the financial benefits to source-separated recycling, but CirQ will be helping to create opportunities for our local community. The Summit County Resource Allocation Park, also known as the SCRAP, is our local material recovery facility. And in the next iteration of CirQ, we are working with the SCRAP to help manage the material that comes from the mountain. And by this new collaboration with the SCRAP, we're ensuring that the benefits of this system extend beyond our resort boundary. This collaboration between PepsiCo, Vail Resorts, Replenish, SCRAP, and visitors to the mountain represent a true closed-loop recycling system where nothing is wasted, and economic impacts stay in the local community. The CirQ program isn't just about managing waste, it's about rethinking how we approach solutions in sustainability, taking a risk to maybe get it right, and imagining a new system across an entire resort. By fostering creative solutions and building a culture of participation, we are showing that the ski industry can lead the way in addressing climate change. As of now, CirQ has successfully processed 18,000 pounds of recycled material, and Copper Mountain is leading with a 35% landfill diversion rate at the resort. Proof that collaboration, innovation, and commitment to transparency can create real positive change. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you so much, Ryan, for joining us today. So we're actually going to shift gears from waste reduction into renewable energy. Sorry, I got strange little flying bugs in my eye. I'm sure you do too. So here's a picture of Copper Mountain. I look at Copper Mountain as a renewable energy customer. As a resort operator, you know, we buy power to run ski lifts, power snowmaking in all of our base areas, and that adds up to quite a bit. Currently, I'm kind of feeling that what Copper seeks is not something that we're able to buy. Copper seeks to buy renewable energy in a way that we think is better than the standard model right now. All over the place, I see situations where solar development is received very negative in the local communities. It might be a great thing at the community that's the off-taker, but how is it perceived at the community where those actual panels are built? How is it perceived to those people that feel that they were displaced? What about the people that used to farm those fields? And for that, something that I have a hard time with. So finding other collaborators has been an amazing journey for Copper Mountain to continue to try to move that needle and do that in a new way through seeking to acquire what I would call socially responsible renewable energy development. I was fortunate that I got to grow up in an agriculture community. My family currently farms and ranches, grows cows in Grand County, Colorado. And so while this is definitely not something that just applies to where I came from, there's a lot of land out there. And these farmers and ranchers have absolutely no motivation or desire to lease their land to large-scale renewable energy developers or equity firms that are going to just gobble up land. They feel like it's like, oh, I lease my land, it's not mine anymore. And that's the stories that I've heard. And so this map down here shows currently in our country locations where agrivoltaic solar developments have been built. And there's a lot of them. And Rick will go into a little more detail on this map. A lot going on the East Coast, northern part, California, of course. There's a major gap in the Intermountain West for agrivoltaic solar developments. And I think there's an extreme opportunity here, not just to unlock an immense amount of land that's currently not being developed, that's off the table right now, through partnering with local communities and local ranchers. And the shift is this, that instead of a large conglomerate owning these panels and leasing the land, these ranchers are interested in buying their own solar panels, investing in their future, investing in what's the next generation going to do of their families, rather than getting displaced by land, but creating a hybrid model. What's truly a synergistic event where they can stay on the land and also supplement their business by also producing power. So Copper's interested, like I said, in acquiring renewable energy through, that I would define in a better way here. And we've got a couple opportunities to support that. Copper's interested in signing a power purchase agreement for an agrivoltaic development at its inception, literally years before it goes to construction. And we believe that's a lever that we can pull to help not finance these projects, but help those that will own the projects get financing. As a reliable customer, that's an established business and a large power, off-taker, that we're interested in enough of a chunk that we have the ability to help move this needle by being not a financial backer, but a customer that's willing to step up to the plate literally at day one. And that's going to help. So there's, like I said, a lot of land out there that's waiting to be unlocked. Even a lot of land resources that are next to big transmission lines and substations throughout the West here. So like I said, I had the opportunity to grow up in an agricultural family. This is a Google Earth picture of a hay meadow I grew up irrigating. And it's a little hard to see. The screen's a little smaller than I thought it'd be. You can see rows of hay that has been cut into what we call a windrow that's drying. And the reason why I chose this picture is because I literally just pulled out an editing, art editor and drew some lines here, is that this is an opportunity to do this compatible with agriculture. Each one of those rows are 16 feet apart, and these black lines represent what could be developed there as far as the solar development. And this shows that it can be done in a way that's compatible with these people's, with ranchers' livelihoods. That this is no longer a choose this, abandon your way of life and get a small paycheck every month, or invest in your future, help them diversify their economic portfolios to help through the ups and downs of the agricultural business. That's a tough one. And yeah, it is a compromise, right? There is some hay in this meadow that's not harvested because of these solar panels. But as somebody that's been in the hay business and now in the sustainability business for a while, as I do the math here, That's a loss of about $500 worth of hay that could have been sold. Even at selling this power at a wholesale rate, the revenue generation to these farmers and ranchers far exceeds that $500 opportunity. So I've asked a couple of other collaborators to join me today, John Siewierski and Rick DeFino, because they're the first that I've come across when I've explained that copper wants to buy renewable energy power, but in a different way. Copper's looking for an agrivoltaic solar development, that the actual farmers own the land, own the panels, that we want to buy power from these ranchers. They were the first to I think we can work on that. And so I'm honored today to turn it over to John Siewierski to tell you a little bit more about agrivoltaics.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank all of you for attending. Thank you, Mountain Towns 2030, for bringing us here. First of all, how many of you know much about agrivoltaics before coming here? Raise your hands. Better than most places, very good. Little background on myself. I've spent over 40 years in the ski industry, working with different business models and technologies that are now adopted as standard procedure in the ski industry. Agrivoltaics, as Jeff gave a lead into, has different pieces to it. It's basically, as you can see, with the raised panel, everyone's seen areas where they've gone through and seen major solar farms up, which have some different issues. Here it is pairing and actually integrating solar with ranching and farming and the preservation of the land, and actually making it healthier to sustain each of those business operations over time. Let me get this right. Here you can see agrivoltaics is not just a new concept. We have proven that, as you saw from the early chart. You can see the quick adoption of it and addressing each of the critical environmental issues that we have as ranchers and in our communities, in the mountain communities. And we're more fragile communities at elevation that feel the impacts of climate change even faster in there. So as we have the steep growth, you can see also policy is key. The introduction of the Inflation Reduction Act has grown it significantly more so since that was done. And again, it touches with a variety of key issues that we need to address. Excuse me. Okay, state policies here in Colorado. We have agriculture and we have tourism are critical parts of our economy. Colorado has started to introduce different grants and funding for the research and the initial development of it. Recently, in the past year, Governor Polis has actually had initial grant money for agrivoltaic projects that we have. There has been one in the Boulder County area, Jack Solar Garden. Many of you have heard about it. It's a small scale, a lot of research, really providing the proof of concept and how this works. It's not a big scale, but you got to begin small before you go larger. And they've done a great job of that. With the different projects they have, they're covering different elements. As you can see, easements are important, conservation easements, habitat protection. We have different areas that we look at, wildlife being in there. Where does that compromise it? So having a company that'll work with design and partner with you to do that is absolutely essential as we move forward. Putting these grants together and looking at our rural communities, as you saw on the map, we need to keep them all healthy as we move forward. It's not only being done at the local area, on the federal level, which I know is a big issue at times. FERC, Federal Energy Regulatory Committee, has just announced new directives to help accelerate this even faster. Even though we saw that earlier steep growth, we got a lot more work to do as we move forward. We need to accelerate the adoption and the growth at a much higher level. We hear of agrivoltaics, but you don't have many of them in your backyards in the mountain communities that we have. Current state of affairs that we have right here. It's the landscape and the challenges. One of the biggest things is, even though we've adopted in all the communities all the solar that we can do or renewable energies, we do not have enough rooftops enough land or real estate to even get close to our goals. We have great goals, 2030. How many of us are on path to actually get there? We have a structural problem with how much property that we have. This is where we need a critical collaboration where we work as partners, including the utilities, and the utilities also have the co-ops. There becomes one of the obstacles, having each of those work together. You have to have the developers, companies like Rick's company that has the expertise of working out of the box, and the landowners. The landowners are our neighbors, the ranchers and farmers that work at our resorts counter-seasonally and have been involved in the early inception in there. We need to scale this much bigger, so agrivoltaics is a path towards community integration and collective success for your mountain towns and your adjacent communities to preserve the culture and the lifestyle of each. Recently, as we talked about some of the obstacles that we have, we knew of one property that we wanted to work with. We were quite a ways down the road. We could have developed anywhere from 100 to 200 megawatts of power over several years. There are resort customers that want to buy the power. The regulatory obstacles between the co-ops and the for-profits has slowed that to a grinding halt. Excuse me. We work with it, but each of them are different. Ranchers and farmers each have a different need. How you design it significantly takes advantage of the land that you have and the crops that you're growing as well. So it is not a rinse and repeat, which most of the big solar development companies and private equity firms want to do the same thing over and over. As I went through looking for partners, much like Jeff mentioned, most don't want to think out of the box. Plus we're in elevation. Plus we have snow. They don't even want to look at it. They don't have the depth of experience to accomplish that. We look at it as well when we're doing the development. Ranchers and farmers are conservative. They may not want to do the whole piece at first. We need to do it incrementally. There you have the opportunity for mixed development, where you have fixed ground mount systems, which do not impact the existing ag and ranching that you have. So you can do it in different phases that we have there. Pricing for this at times is a premium, but that premium and the value comes back to community development. Do you really want private equity firms buying the ranching and the farmlands and taking away affordable housing for your workers that are there? So we want to do it in a socially responsible way. And it's just not for your resort, but it's the values that you share with your adjacent communities of the ranchers and the farmers or the agricultural place. They are the bed base that many people commute to. They can't afford the housing at many of our resorts. We don't have enough space. We can work and reinvest in that for each. You can see from some of the different designs that it's done differently to allow farming or cows or sheep in there. And the other thing is, we do know the shade at different times. Jeff talked about hay. We can talk about different, commodity crops. We've seen some agrivoltaic projects underneath of that, they'll raise higher value crops than the per acreage. Plus, you look at the revenue on top of it for the power generated in there. Plus, many of the livestock and cattle like the shade, and they do even better. Outside equity firms are one of the biggest drivers of your food inflation. They're buying the land. It's not being preserved. At times, parts are being leased for everyone. We want to be able to have projects that are done where we keep the ranchers and farmers, preserve the rural community, values and assets there, while contributing to our resorts and our mountain towns. They are taking away the opportunities for many. I don't want to offend any private equity firms here, but what we want to do is find something that's more balanced for all of us with benefits that make a difference for our community, our resorts, and our employees. All right. Obstacles and challenges. The regulatory environment with tariff fees, co-ops, for-profits not wanting to work together has literally stopped many projects, small and larger scale. That's where, instead of operating in silos, we have to come together with a collective voice at the local, state levels, some at the federal, to bring that change. Instead of just the growth that we've seen steep, we have to accelerate even more to reach our goals. Noble goals, there's an old statement, theory and praxis. We got a great theory, we got a great goal, but what are the practical steps that we need to make this a reality across there? There are financial considerations in the market. We've heard different ones to accelerate that, whether it be RECs, which Rick will talk more about, PPAs as well. These are viable pieces. Sam wrote a good article that's been distributed around here. If you haven't read that, I would suggest that you do read that. And next, I'm going to turn this over to Rick. Oh, no, I went a little bit too fast. Sorry on that. Here we go, Rick.
Okay, thanks again, John. Mountain Towns 2030, my name is Rick DeFino. I'm the Managing Director at Vanguard Solar Services based in Denver, Colorado. We are what's called an EPC. That means that we engineer projects, we procure the material, we construct projects. That's full turnkey, that's the permitting, that's the interconnection, that's a lot of the fun stuff that's behind the scenes. With that said, we're very fortunate that we can work on, and we have worked on commercial, municipal, utility, even the smallest of microgrids, to a major focus of operations and maintenance. One thing I will say is, as good as solar installations and development are, right, we have to be considerate of ongoing maintenance to support ongoing generation. That's something that's unfortunately bypassed in our industry. That's a very proud focus of our company. So with that said, we're very fortunate that just the executive team, the ownership team, myself and two others, we have 45 years of combined solar experience just between ourselves. We've been fortunate to perform solar development in 4 different countries in 3 separate continents, soon to be 5 countries. With that said, we don't turn our eyes around from any installation, from the smallest microgrid to bigger utility scale installations. We really try to take a bespoke, really unique approach to different projects. So with that said, let's see. We got a lot to cover, so if I'm going too fast, you can slow me up. These are just some examples of some commercial, municipal, multifamily projects. This is down to a carport installation that we've done before. This is a fantastic use of space. Lots of municipalities opt for this. It's one of the best spaces to be utilizing solar, especially if you don't have too much on the rooftop. Again, like I said, microgrids are a specialty as well. This is a perfect example of a project that's now been installed. As you can see, we have 4 big badass lithium-ion batteries, in addition to a ground mount installation, as well as propane tanks. This is as off-grid as you could possibly be, but it really takes that genuine, that authentic approach to hearing out different client needs. With that said, this is a perfect example of one of the ground mounts that we've done. And as you can see, different from agrivoltaics, you're looking at around 4 to 6 feet off the ground. These are driven GFT piles by Unirac. The picture just to my left right here, this is a very unique opportunity our company was able to win. We won a contract with the Advanced Simons Observatory under the National Science Foundation. This picture is just a couple months ago, back in June. We were at 17,000 feet in elevation in the northern Atacama Desert, right, in Chile. So we are building the first solar microgrid to support scientific research on the planet, which we're very proud of, punching really high above our weight. But it's one of those things where we have just finished about 1.5 years worth of design, about to construct this project. But this is going to save the National Science Foundation over $1 million a year as they approach cleaner science. This is just a little solar cheat sheet. This is from the Solar Energy Industries Association. They're our K Street representation at DC. You can definitely reach out to me. I'm happy to share this document. This is really giving you an idea of where our industry is, right? This is 2023 data, right? So it's not going to be as accurate, but you have just in 2023, a solar installation was happening every 39 seconds, you know, and as you can see, the value of our market's about $60 billion right now. But something I want to draw your attention to, and again, if you can't see this, I'm happy to share this document after the fact. You can see the different states and their different installations. You have, of course, California being a primary leader, but different states you wouldn't really think about. New York, New Jersey, right? But it's about state incentives, right? I wish in Colorado we had further state incentives, right? We're just leaning on federal ITCs, but you can see what the development is. But what is jarring here is the lack of mountain town representation, right? This is something we really do need to think about. With that said, a lot of individuals are looking at how do I get into solar, right? How am I buying it? Am I building it myself? Am I electing for other options? This is just a quick and dirty sheet. You have different purchase options. You know, you have what's called, we hear this term all the time, power purchase agreements or PPAs, right? We hear that we can pursue RECs, or we can build it on our own site or off-site. I'm here really today to talk about what is most applicable to ski resort communities. It's RECs as well as power purchase agreements. Now, there's differing opinions on RECs and power purchasing agreements, so getting through really the pros and cons of each, right? Now, we actually have certain clients that are opting for PPAs. Why, right? You're looking for lower to no upfront capital costs. You're, of course, getting reduced energy costs. And sometimes there's a fixed escalator plan. But the disadvantages of PPAs, especially with the municipalities we've serviced that have had installations performed 15 years ago that we're either performing operations and maintenance on or providing them with new systems, right, is that these long-term commitments as well as these escalators have actually exceeded the actual increase in utility costs. So if you're ever looking at PPAs, you have to make sure you're reading your contract very thoroughly, because sometimes PPAs can really be detrimental to your operation. With that said, with RECs are the same thing. This is the commitment that we can make to the renewable energy macro market, right? You actually have RECs that are cost effective in comparison to actually developing a renewable energy installation yourself. But at the same time, there's a lot of question to the efficacy and the validity of RECs. Are RECs actually beneficial? Do we want to do more for our carbon offset? This comes back to what we've been discussing is just an alternative path to sustainable success. Resorts, I don't have to tell most of you in this room, but they have a lack of developable land for solar installations. Because you have real estate that's limited, I think that we need to be looking to the communities that we are representing, that we are supporting. So with that said, Agrivoltaics is a fantastic operation. We can empower the communities that represent us across the board, the ones that are often overlooked when it comes to massive solar development. This comes back to a graph that Jeff shared just a little bit ago. Now you can see this is purely agrivoltaic development, which is very exciting, right? You have about 10 megawatts, right? Sorry, 10 gigawatts of agrivoltaics deployed to date, about 62,000 acres, and they have different varietals from sheep to cattle to bees operation, agricultural operations. It's really fantastic to see exactly what we're doing. But I want to make note too, as Jeff mentioned before, we still have a lack of mountain town representation when it comes to agrivoltaics. This is a big opportunity for all of us. This is just a perfect example of a lot of development that goes into the amount of planning that goes into every single installation that we're doing. This is just a tentative design, as well as some, the geotechnical data, everything that's needed, the permitting, the interconnect with building departments, with utilities, making sure that substations are sized correctly. This comes back to the dramatic growth of our industry. The annual interconnection requests from 2013 to 2023 have simply just surged. But the behind the scenes, this is something we need to be conscious of. As bold as our goals are, as aggressive as our goals need to be for 2030, the behind the scenes of as much as I want to build a solar project and get it into commercial operation, we still actually have to develop new service requests with our utilities. We have to work with our co-ops. We have to work with the building departments, things of that nature. Every single time we're putting this in, you are looking at, it could be anywhere from around 8, 12 to 24 months that you're waiting for an interconnection agreement. So you tell me, if we have 2030 goals, if we're not moving fast enough, are we going to be able to obtain them? This is another example of the queues by county nationwide, right? California is obviously represented here perfectly with they have a insane density when it comes to the projects that are waiting to be connected. You can see once again, mountain communities, mountain towns are still not in the queue because they're not building enough solar installations. This is another jarring graph too of the 1,000 gigawatts of both solar and storage that are still in queues. Again, day by day, these are coming off of queues, but this is what is the backlog. So if we're not jumping on projects right away, we're definitely missing this opportunity. This is a good article. I'm happy to share as well from the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, NREL, in our home state of Colorado, the 5 C's of a successful agrivoltaic installation. You know, you can see that it's so much about the climate, understanding your climate, understanding how you're configuring the farm. What type of crops are you going to grow? What type of native grasses are going to be ecologically the best for your operation? The compatibility, as well as the most basic point of our presentation, which is collaboration. So with that said, this is a joint call to action from all of us. It's about approaching your solar installation with intention. Are you listening to your community? Are you listening to your agrivoltaic project providers? Are you listening to the ranching and agriculture communities that are representing you? The collaboration. We cannot vilify utilities. We cannot vilify regional co-ops. We have to work with them. We have to actually show them the patience. We have to work hand in hand, establish the right type of communication. But what I cannot stress enough is speed. Acting with a collective haste to get these projects up and running, to actually get them in the queue so we're not waiting too long. So with that said, I'll give it back to Jeff.
Great. Thank you, Rick. So in closing here, this is kind of a Venn diagram of overlapping priorities and opportunities here. Agrivoltaics is certainly one option, not the only option, but it's an option that provides support for that local ecosystem, support for agriculture, support for our economy in our, building a new clean energy economy, as well as, bringing communities together. So as a whole here, we've talked about a lot of different things. Some successful collaborations, like at Copper with academic experts and with Vail Resorts and PepsiCo and waste reduction. And we end here in renewable energy development. But we're not exactly finding the success that we hope for. And it's not about a lack of trying. It's about we need more voices to come together. Copper can't be the only one calling for this. If Copper's the only company calling for this, it's never going to happen. We're looking for other off-takers that want to say, hey, I'm interested in agrivoltaics as well. We're looking for other developers in other communities that want to bring to bear their expertise. And then ultimately, those that are maybe in the elected space, those that have experience working with their local co-ops or with other legislation to help pave the way for us to build not only a clean energy economy, but one that supports our local communities, one that helps to tie our resorts and our mountain towns to the surrounding land, to those people, and ensure that we all have a good future together. So I ask for you to join these collaborations today. We don't have really much time for questions here, but I have a couple QR codes up on the screen. If you'd like to continue on, if you have questions, or if you have something else that you would like to maybe join. We're looking for people to stand shoulder to shoulder with, voices from other companies and other organizations to help move this needle and to help remove some of the barriers that we've faced, especially in the space of agrivoltaic development. So that first QR code here is if you would like an invitation to join the 5th Annual Ski Conservation Summit that'll be held at Copper Mountain next summer. That'll actually be on July 23rd. It's a free conference, like I mentioned. It's a fun event. Get to see a lot of conservation in action, and it also includes a fun hike in the middle of the conference. Stretch those legs, get out of the tent, I guess. The one in the middle, scan that QR code if you're interested in joining a meeting that we have tentatively scheduled for mid-December about circular recycling. Maybe you and your community have some other assets to bring to bear. We'd like to share our success stories as well as our contact information with the other companies that we've been working with. And it maybe Pepsi's not your distributor. Well, I happen to know that the other big beverage distributor in the world is also following suit and reproducing what Pepsi's doing. So we'd love to invite you to join this circular recycling collaboration as well. And then the third one is a solar development meeting focused on agrivoltaics that will happen in mid-January, that we seek, like I said, to ask for more voices to join this collaboration. We need more demand. We need more people with good ideas that can say, oh, wait, have you tried that? I'm like, never thought of that. This is certainly a space that needs help. And so today, I ask for more collaboration. And that's where we end this presentation about how different collaborations are coming together at our ski resorts, how collaborators from different parts of our industry and different communities are working together really to build results that we couldn't have done on our own. I like to think of them as these synergistic outputs that Copper or any of these other companies, we wouldn't have been able to succeed on our own. But together, we truly are working to advance conservation, waste reduction, and renewable energy and energy efficiency. So I think we're out of time. Got to get off to your next conference or breakout session. So please scan one of these QR codes if you have any questions, or join one of our meetings. We'd love to have you. So let me thank Ryan, Megan, John, and Rick. Nice job. Thank you. Thanks for being here with me today.